Right, today I've come to Avebury to see the sanctuary. It's concrete posts in the ground. Look at them. Look at those concrete posts. Look, here's another one. And there's some more. And there's molehills. The sanctuary is actually a little bit disappointing. There are a lot of them. So originally, 5,000 years ago, all of these post holes would have been filled with posts and would have formed a really cool wood henge with some stone obelisks. But now it's just concrete markers put up to show that posts were here. It's a bit boring, but stay tuned because Avebury is a fascinating Neolithic super state of awesomeness. I've come to Windmill Hill at Avebury. There's nothing here. There's nothing of interest. There's some barrows and some sheep. And a tourist. This is Silbury Hill, just outside of Avebury near West Kennet. It's a huge big mound built in the Neolithic period. People thought there might be a barrow inside it, or a tomb, or treasure. There's nothing. It's mud. It's just a big pile of mud. And you can't climb on it, and you can't get too close to it. But it's a big pile of mud. Right, today I've come to Avebury and the village of West Kennet to see West Kennet Long Barrow. It's probably Britain's most magnificent barrow. It is huge, bigger than Wayland Smithy and deeper than Hetty Pegler's Tump. You can see the blocking stone behind me is almost twice my height and many times as wide. It is just staggering. And it's 500 years older than Wayland Smithy. Because of the lack of trees, this landscape is more similar to how it would have been in the Neolithic period compared to Wayland Smithy. We're right on top of the barrow now. And you can see just the landscape open for miles and miles and miles. That's Silbury Hill down there, and Avebury lies in that little valley beyond. Right, I'm just going to give you a bit of sense of scale of how huge and deep this barrow is. From the valley below, you can see this as a ridge on the hill. You can see how humans have shaped the landscape. There are many chambers along here. Probably would have been one single chamber originally, but excavations and ploughing have changed the original shape. And this is probably twice as big as Wayland Smithy. I would say twice as big, in my rough estimation. But in some ways has fewer stones and fewer decoration. Wayland Smithy was built 500 years after West Kennet Long Barrow, and it's certain that there was a strong connection. They both lie on the Ridgeway, the Neolithic road that crossed the chalk hills from, well, officially from here to Ivanhoe Beacon, but as a footpath it goes much further into Cambridgeshire and down to Dorset, and you really get a sense of how big this is. Yeah, 5,500 years ago, men were moving this. This is, as old as the Mesopotamian civilizations and ancient pyramids. The history that has gone on here almost staggers the mind, just how long humans have been at this site compared to more modern regions where there's 200 or 300 years of history. Coming round on the end now, and yeah, it's huge. So one excellent feature of the West Kennet Long Barrow is that you can go fully inside its chambers. It's built basically for human-sized people, as opposed to the very small and narrow areas at the Wayland Smithy. That's the blocking stone. You instantly get out of the wind in this little courtyard. It's staggering. And this is the darkness within. 46 people were buried in here over 1,000 years. And it's so dark, I need a torch. Right, back this time with a torch. And you can get really deep into this burial chamber. There are occasionally offerings on these stones. You can see a candle in the back there. It's gone out. There's a lot of neo-pagan activity at this kind of site. And there's little windows in the ceiling for light, but they don't let in much more than a glow. You can see it with the naked eye. And maybe someone thought the blacksmith was here rather than Wayland's smithy. Somebody's left a penny in there. And all these rocks are wet with moisture. My breath is misting around me. Don't know if that'll show up on camera, but it's very damp and cloying. There's another candle in there. It's really fascinating, the size and scope of these things. As I've talked about before, for Neolithic people, death was not the end. Your bones would become part of communal ceremonies for hundreds of years to come. The fact that there are 46 individuals in this barrow over 1,000 years suggests they were prestigious or royal or of great religious significance, but it's also possible that remains had just been taken out of it over time, similar to more modern charnel houses. It really is magnificently huge, and all done with no real tools, just Stone Age tools. Very few beasts of burden. The horse bow wouldn't have been invented yet. The ox bow I don't think had been invented yet. It's quite staggering, all effort of man.